Hello friends and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be discussing the Honest Beauty Tinted Moisturizer with SPF 30. In addition, I have tried almost all of the makeup products that are from Honest, and so I will be letting you know what I think of each of those as well. Now first, a little bit of information about me. I'm 58 years old and I have dry and sensitive skin. And over the past 2 years I've tried almost 1,000 makeup and skincare products. So right now I'm in the process of reviewing a variety of foundations as well as tinted moisturizers that have SPF in them. And I am focusing on products that don't include perfumes or other artificial fragrances, and also that don't include chemical sunscreens, because both of those irritate my skin a lot. So Honest is a brand that was founded in 2011, and it was started by an actress named Jessica Alba who has sensitive skin, and it went public about a year or two ago. And the prime target market for this company is women with small children or infants. So they're women that are considerably younger than I am, and most of their products are designed for people that don't have quite as dry or mature of skin. They all do have pretty clean ingredient lists, and I have found that a number of their products work well for me. I'm particularly enthusiastic about pretty much all of their skincare products. The makeup products have been a little bit more hit and miss. So Honest calls this product CCC Clean Corrective with Vitamin C Tinted Moisturizer Broad Spectrum SPF. They say that it is supposed to be a lightweight, breathable skin tint designed to color correct and diffuse the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, blemishes, pores, and uneven skin tone for a smooth, radiant complexion. The SPF that's in here, it includes both titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. It is vegan, cruelty-free, no scent to it, made in the USA. It's in a plastic squeeze bottle, but there's an airless pump, and it is $24 for 1 ounce. So this is a little bit less expensive than most of the other foundation products with sunscreen that I have tried. And there are 9 shades for different skin tones, but they all say that they're designed for neutral skin tones. The vitamin C that's in this product is one that is supposed to be less irritating to the skin, and it doesn't tell you how much vitamin C it has in it. Now, I happen to unfortunately have the shade Dune in this product, which is described as a light medium, and it does seem to be a little too dark for me. So it doesn't look too bad on because it's pretty sheer, but I think that it would probably be better off with at least 1 shade down. So one thing that I have found is that all sunscreens, even if they just contain mineral products, irritate my skin to some extent. And for that reason, I consider my main form of sun protection to wear an SPF 50 hat along with really good sunglasses. So this hat and most of the other hats that I have are from Sunday Afternoons, and I've been very happy with that brand, and I've been wearing their hats really very consistently every time that I'm in the sun. For the past 12 years or so, and I think that this has made a big difference for me in terms of providing at least as much protection for my skin as tinted sunscreens or regular sunscreens would do. However, if I'm going to be getting a lot of sun, then I will add on some tinted sunscreen or regular sunscreen as an addition to that to give me even more protection. And especially if I were going to be going boating or skiing or doing something where the reflections from the sun were going to be particularly strong, then I would be sure to use a product like that. Very recently, I've been putting a primer underneath my sunscreen. And in the past when I've tried that, it hasn't worked really that well. But I've been finding that this product, which is a very light foundation that I think works really well as a primer, has been doing a much better job in terms of protecting my skin from all kinds of substances that are irritating to it, including foundations that include things like rose geranium oil that I'm allergic to, and also these mineral sunscreens. So this is a product called, I think, HydraPure foundation from Jane Iredale, and HydraPure Tinted Serum, it's called. At first, I didn't feel like this product was really doing anything. It's almost clear on my skin, but in terms of adding a slight bit of a nice finish to my skin, and in addition, especially as serving as protection from other things that I might put on my skin that might be irritating to it, I found this to be very, very helpful so far. And I probably will be wearing more sunscreens this summer because I'm able to use this product underneath them. Now, Honest Beauty makes a primer, and so I did try that on underneath this as well. I found that when I put on this primer, which is the Everything Primer Glow Plus 2HA, that it made it very, very glowy and kind of wet. So that did not work very well for me at all. I think that it needs something that's a little bit sturdier in order to work out well. In general, I'm surprised at how dewy this product is. From looking at the ingredients list, I didn't realize that it was going to be have quite so much oil or hydration in it. So even when I put it on top of this primer from Jane Iredale, it tends to keep getting quite dewy looking, and no matter how much powder I put on top of it, it seems to have this breakthrough shine to it. So this is something that usually doesn't bother me all that much with most products. Most products I don't mind too much because my skin is really dry. So that's something to be aware about for this one. I'm a little surprised at how moisturizing it has been on my skin. So it's not even that hot now, and so I think with summer coming up that this is going to turn even more dewy when I'm outside. So I'm going to have to try to experiment with getting some powders that have cornstarch in them or something that will really dry out my skin a bit more. I think the House Labs powder that I put on top of it isn't quite as oil absorbing as some powders might be. So I will try to use it during the summer months, but considering how hydrating it has been for me, I kind of feel like this might be a little bit better for parts of the year for me that are not quite so warm. I do think, however, that the product looks pretty good in terms of not exaggerating my wrinkles or making them look worse. So a lot of foundations do make my wrinkles look quite a lot worse. But in this case, I think the texture of my skin is looking okay. I think that it also seems to be fairly even on areas like my nose. It doesn't seem to be breaking up a lot. And so I think that that part is really good. I think that the coverage that it's offering, if I had coverage issues that I was concerned about, I think that in combination with maybe even just a little bit of concealer, this is offering pretty good coverage. So the real issue is whether or not you mind having that much hydration on your skin. And I do feel pretty good about the product in terms of how it smells, how it feels. Other than the zinc and the titanium dioxide, I don't think it has any problematic ingredients in it that would be problematic for my skin. And I don't feel like it's a problematic foundation other than the fact that my skin just doesn't like having those minerals on it that much. Now, I certainly don't think that this is the prettiest or smoothest foundation that I have in my collection. I think that it looks more like a sunscreen that I would wear during the summer months and primarily that I would wear when I'm really wanting to get some sun protection. But I don't think it looks bad on me. I think that it looks all right. And I think it does wash off fairly easily, so I'm fairly happy about that. It doesn't seem to be sticking to my skin permanently or anything like that. In terms of the number of shades, I think that it's a little bit limiting that there are not shades that are warm versus cool or that would have other kinds of undertones to them. I don't think it's working badly for me, but I think that could be a negative. Again, if you're just going to be wearing it outside to give yourself a little bit of sun protection, then maybe that's not that important. But if I were going to wear it as a regular foundation, then that would be kind of limiting, I think. So even compared to the Han foundation, which is an oil-based foundation, I feel like this one does even worse than that one in terms of making my face feel like it's kind of on the sweaty side whenever I'm getting any kind of heat at all. So in general, I think that this foundation It performs pretty adequately, especially for the price. It's a pretty good price compared to other similar tinted moisturizers that are on the market. But I don't feel like it's perfect for me because of all of this hydration thing. So I thought that what I would do is a countdown of the Honest products, starting with the products that I've had the most problems with and then counting down to the products that I like the most. So the products that I have not tried, they make a new volumizing mascara that I have not yet tried. I've tried 2 of the other mascaras that they make, but not that one. They also make a matte primer, which is supposed, I think, to be designed more for oilier skin. They make a loose powder now, which is out of stock at present, so I haven't tried that one. I did like their pressed powder. I used one as a regular powder on my face, and then I used a darker shade, as they suggested, as a bronzer. Now, I thought both of those pressed powders were pretty nice, so I do have some hope that the loose powder might be okay as well. And they make a variety of brushes, and I realized that I've never tried any of their brushes. And some of them do get pretty good reviews. So I'm kind of picky about brushes, but I would be interested in trying some of their brushes at some point. So starting at number 18 and counting down, the first one is their brow gel. And the problem with that brow gel, I bought it directly from the company, and it was entirely dried out when I got it. So that was a disappointment because I do think that it has a clean ingredient list. And since I bought it directly from the company, I thought that it was unfortunate that they were not keeping better track of their inventory. There were a lot of other complaints about this on their website, and I'm not sure if they have repaired that issue or not, but I'm really hesitant to purchase it again unless I see a bunch of reviews that people have really liked it, and so far I haven't seen that. Number 17 would be this liquid lipstick, which I will show you, but which I really don't like the way that it tastes or feels to me. The ingredient list doesn't look as bad as many liquid lipsticks, but I think it's just hard to create a liquid lipstick. Very recently, there have been a couple of liquid lipsticks that have been released that I have felt have been okay. One is from a company called Violette FR these are only in really bright shades of red or fuchsia pink. And I also have recently liked the newer MAC Powder Kiss liquid lipsticks. I think that doesn't feel too bad on my lips either. It does have vanillin in it, if that's a concern for you. But I've done okay with that one, and I've been kind of impressed. So I think it is possible to get a decent liquid lipstick now, but this would not be one that I would suggest. It was a disappointment to me. So counting down to number 16 would be the Vibeliner eyeliner pencil. So I tried this. This is the shade Harmony. This pencil, like most other pencils on the market that bill themselves as being clean beauty, contains cottonseed oil. And I think that is the issue for me, that cottonseed oil is invariably contaminated with agricultural chemicals, including glyphosate and many other chemicals, and that this is problematic, and that this is something that EWG does consider to be problematic. And that I think, particularly when I use it near my eyes, I think it's a particular problem for me. And I think that the reason for this is because glyphosate changes the microbiome by killing off good bacteria and allowing bad mold or bad fungus to grow. And I think at one point I had a very bad eye infection that I believe was fungal. And so I'm really picky about this. And when I've used really any eye pencil that has any cottonseed oil in it, I have experienced that my eyes after a few hours do start to ache and feel really problematic in a way that they never feel otherwise. So this is one of the pencils that I tried that fit into this. This pencil's made in the Czech Republic, which is where the supposedly clean eyeshadow pencils, usually eyeliner pencils usually are made. And so I just have gotten to the point where I think I'm just not going to use any more pencils with cottonseed oil in them. or other eye products with cottonseed oil in them, because they're just too problematic. I do better with silicones than I do with that. Honest also has a line of liquid eyeshadows, which they're calling Eye Catcher Lid Tint. So they come in a variety of colors. This is another product that I tend to often have issues with. In this case, they don't seem to have any really problematic ingredients in it, but I did find this to be irritating to my eyes as well. There are a few products on the market that are liquid eyeliners like this that haven't been irritating, so I've done fine, for instance, with the Lisa Eldridge product. I did fine with the Violette FR product and with the Beauty Counter product. And I didn't like the way that the Kosas product performed, but I didn't have a problem in terms of that irritating my eyes. Or the Ilia one. So just some of the ones on the market are problems, and this turned out to be one of them. And I'm not sure quite why that is, but I would not use this again. Now, Honest has on their website a little eyeshadow palette with a bunch of different neutral shades in it. Most of them are sort of moderately dark, and then there's some really dark ones, and then there's some black, which I guess is designed to be an eyeliner. I have found, I kind of like these colors, but this palette did turn out to have the kind of a hard formula that I find to be quite difficult to use. It doesn't have talc in it, which is good, and I don't think that it irritated my eyes, but I just find it to be really difficult when I'm using a palette where the eyeshadows are difficult to apply to get them to look nice on my eyes. So I put some of this on my eyes today, and I don't think it looks terrible, but it's just, it takes kind of that joy out of using an eyeshadow palette if I have to work so hard to get them to perform. So I have used this very, very rarely because I just have not enjoyed it, and I would have rather spent the money on a palette, put the money towards a palette that I really liked if my goal was to get a good eyeshadow palette. Now, Honest also makes a plain eyebrow pencil that is sharpenable, and that is the kind of product that I have not found to work well on my own eyebrows at all. So I have very problematic brows. I have very few brow hairs. The ones that I do have are very light in color. So I have found that I usually need to do 2 steps to make a decent eyebrow look. I need to first use a pretty good eyebrow pencil on my eyebrows, and then I need to fill in with a eyebrow gel. So that's what I did today with the Jane Iredale products, and that has worked really well for me. But when I've used any kind of eyebrow pencils like the Honest one, I feel like that has just not given me a very good look. But if you have eyebrows that are less problematic than mine, and other kinds of plain sharpenable eyebrow pencils have worked well for you, then this could work fine as well, and it's not too expensive. So I'm not saying it's a bad product. I think it's just inappropriate for me in terms of my eyebrows being so problematic. Now, another product that I have tried that I think I must have already passed on to someone else is a concealer. Now, the concealer was released last year, and there's an amazing 16 shades in that, so I think that that part is terrific. However, I think that the problem with this for me is that it's a water-based concealer. It does have a lot of hyaluronic acid in it, but I think that it did not do a good job at all in preventing my textural issues from showing up. So when I used it in my eye area, it definitely made my eye creases worse. When I used it even on other spots of my face, I feel like it just overemphasized the textural issues. So I don't think that's the case for everyone based on their reviews, but that has definitely what happened to me. Now, in a lot of cases, I will use water-based concealers with a wand applicator above my eyes, but when I did that with this particular product, it did cause my eyes to be irritated. So far, the products that I have been able to do that as an eyelid primer, I've used the Beauty Counter one, I've used the Kosas one, and I've used the Say one, and all of those have worked really well. But unfortunately, this Honest one did not because it was irritating to me. So I think that Probably this is a better product for people who are a bit younger, but I am impressed with how many shades there are. I think that's really terrific. Now, Honest also makes a setting spray, which has all natural ingredients in it. The ingredient list does look good, but when I tried this on, I didn't feel like it really was doing anything for my face. Now, I don't usually feel that I need a setting spray anyway, but I don't think that this one really contributed anything positive. So if there's a natural setting spray out there that might be helpful to me, I haven't found it yet, and I passed that one on to someone else. But it does have a good ingredient list. Now, this is the primer that I have used a number of times and that I tried using underneath this foundation yesterday. It focuses on having two different kinds of hyaluronic acid in it, and usually my face does really well with hyaluronic acid. That does not seem to be the reason that this product is overly hydrating to my face. I don't think it's too bad if I put it just on my skin and don't put anything over it, although I'm not exactly sure what the point of that is. But if I had pore issues and I wanted to blur them a little bit, then it might help a little bit with that. If I were going to be using a foundation that was really dry and I wanted to add a little bit of hydration and a little bit of barrier, then this seems to work a little bit better. But in general, I haven't figured out a way to use this to my advantage, and so therefore I have only used it trying to figure out what to do with it rather than as something that I think has actually been helping me. It does have a little bit of glow to it, so if you're going to wear it on its own, then you should be aware that it's going to make your skin look a little bit more glowy, and that's not something that I always like either. But on the positive side, I think it does have a good ingredient list. It doesn't have an unpleasant smell, in my opinion, and it hasn't irritated my skin at all, so those things are all good, but I just have not figured out what the point of this is. Now, this product is a liquid eyeliner. It only comes in black. I have never used a liquid eyeliner in my whole life, but last night I decided that it was time to give this a try, and it was not as difficult as I imagined. I don't know that I made that good of an eye look. I tried it on again today, so you can see what you think of it. I didn't realize that it's actually a liquid. And so I managed to tilt the bottle over like this and to spill some of the liquid onto my beige pants. So most of it came out, but there's definitely still a stain that I don't think ever will come out. These were not brand new pants, but they were in fine shape before I dumped this stuff on it. So be careful if you use it. I think that as liquid eyeliners go, I don't think it looks too bad. It comes with a felt tip pen so that you dip it into the ink, and it does apply pretty easily. It made a lot less of a mess on my face than it did on my clothes. So all in all, I think that if you like liquid eyeliners, or if you would be interested in that, then I think that this could be one to try, and I might try using it again to see if I can get better at it, because I certainly don't think I've done an optimal job with it so far, but it's interesting for me to see if I can actually use a product like this. And I think if you do want a product like this, this is not a bad choice. Now, this is another product that I actually just opened yesterday, and so I've just used it 3 times so far. So this is their lengthening mascara, and on one end of the tube it has a primer, and then on the other end of the tube, then it has the mascara, and this is what the wand looks like. And I'll try it like this. I found that so far I don't feel like this mascara has been significantly irritating to my eyes. I feel like it's gone on fairly easily without making a lot of mess. It's held up pretty well for me even when I was outside walking around for a while in it in the heat. And I think it has been a pretty good mascara for me so far. So I'm kind of optimistic about that. So I will have to try it out for a while more and see how it holds up. But so far, I think it's a decent mascara, and people do seem to like this product from Honest pretty much. Now this is a product that they call Honestly Bright Eyes Tinted Eye Cream. So it comes in two shades. One is Sandstone, which I have, and then there's a darker shade for people with darker skin tones. And supposedly the idea with this product is that you put it on as an under eye concealer, but I have such issues under my eyes that this does really nothing to help to distract attention away from them. I need something that's much, much, much more heavy duty than this. So what I've been experimenting with is just using it more like a very, very light foundation. And you know what? I kind of like it for that. I feel like this is the kind of product that if I wanted to put on something and go to bed and just look totally natural, but just have a little bit more of a glow. And this is a peachy color, so that's kind of good for my skin. As makeup goes, I think it's been kind of nice for me, and I have actually gotten some wear out of it. And then counting down to number 6, Honest makes a lash primer. And it's interesting because they make it in 3 colors. They make it in white, which is what most lash primers are. And they also make one that's brown, and they make one that's black. And this is almost like a mascara, but it doesn't tend to plump up your eyelashes, and it doesn't try to make them long. It's really just coating them with some color. And what I have found is that this is actually kind of nice. So I don't necessarily want my eyelashes to look more full or more long, but I wouldn't mind that they're a little bit darker because they do tend to be really very light. So I found that this is a product that goes on really easily for me. It does look very natural. It hasn't irritated my eyes. And in general, I find that it's a casual type of a mascara that looks entirely natural. I find that this is kind of a nice product, especially since it comes in brown. So it's been a long time since I've used this, so unfortunately I don't feel comfortable putting it on my eyes again because I'm not sure what might be growing in this tube. Since it's been such a long time, this is a natural product. But I would actually be interested in buying this again just for my own use. I really kind of like it. And then counting down to number 5, I think would be the powder blush from Honest. So this is available in 4 different shades. And Honest is really not as well known for their powder blush as they are for their cream blush. But I think this has been a very nice product for me. And I think especially today with this glowy foundation on, I think that the powder blush is working a little bit better for me. So let me put a little bit of this on. This is the color Flirty. And I don't think this is as good of a product as, say, the RMS blushes or some of the other powder blushes that are on the market. The House Labs blushes are kind of nice as well. And Jones Road makes a nice powder blush. But in general, I think this is kind of nice. It goes on fairly smoothly. And I think it looks very pretty on me, so I would consider buying this again. It's not a very expensive product, and especially if you can get things from Honest occasionally for 20 or 25% off. I think this is a product that could be worth considering, and I kind of like it. Now, counting down to number 4, Honest makes a lip crayon that they call a Demi-Matte crayon, and this is totally out of stock on the Honest website, and it's totally out of stock on Ulta, but it's still listed, so apparently they are still thinking that they might continue to offer it in the future again, and I think that's kind of a nice thing. I recently did a countdown of all of my matte lipsticks, and this was one I think was pretty much toward the top. It certainly is not the best matte lipstick in my whole collection, but it's a casual lipstick. It tastes good to me. I think it looked nice on my lips. And so it tends to be a little bit messy, but as I said, I don't think this is a problem in a matte lipstick if it doesn't look totally perfect on the lips. So I would consider buying this again, and I've continued to use these crayons on occasion. So this is something that I think is a fairly nice product that I would consider, particularly if they had more shades available that were particularly well suited to me. So counting down to number 3, I think this would be the Glossy Lip Gloss, and that's Gloss-C. So this is supposed to have some vitamin C in it. I think that of all of the glossy lip balms, lip glosses that I have used, I really like this one probably the most. I really like the way it tastes. I really think it's very pretty on my lips. But however, I'm not really that crazy about products that I have to use to put on with my finger. I would rather have a product that I didn't have to use my fingers, because if I'm out in public, I don't really want to use my fingers for that. So if you don't mind putting on products with your fingers, I think this is really pretty. I like this shade, Poppy Topaz. I think it looks really nice on me. And there's a whole bunch of shades, and they do seem to be very popular. So if this is the kind of product that you enjoy using, then I think that this is one I can strongly recommend. I do like it, even though I haven't used it that much. So counting down to number 2, I think that this would be the most famous product from Honest, which is their cream blushes. So these come in 4 different shades, and they come in these little metal containers, and the shades I think are very pretty. So I put the 3 shades that I have on my hand. So the one on the top is Rose Pink, and then the next one is Coral Peach, and then the one at the bottom is Peony Pink. And I think all of these are kind of really gorgeous colors. And then there's one that's a little bit darker and more like a berry type color, which I haven't purchased. But I think that these are, if you look at these, they're all quite pigmented, and they're not, they're sturdy. So this is, I think, the key to these blushes, is that when you put them on your skin, they will really stay on your skin for quite a long period of time. And this is why I think that Meghan Markle used this as her wedding day blush, because this is one of the products that I think that more than pretty much any blush that I've ever tried, this one will really stay on the skin all day for a really long time. So if that's what you're looking for in a blush, then I think this is excellent. I think for me, because of the amount of pigment in them, I need to be very, very careful to not put on too much and to blend it in well. And it's very easy for me to go overboard because my skin is so pale. But if I'm really careful about it, I think that they are very pretty colors, and they work really well, and they certainly do hold up very well. Whereas in a lot of cases, other products that I have, even ones that are very, very expensive, like the Westman Atelier ones, my skin will just eat them up in about 2 seconds, especially if I don't have a primer or a foundation on. But even if I do, they just kind of disappear. And so that, in that respect, these are much better than really almost anything on the market. If you don't have one of these blushes, then I would suggest giving them a try. I also think that these metal containers, which are very much more environmentally sustainable than plastic, apparently, they're quite lovely. They have this kind of an old-fashioned feel to them that I think is really nice. So in general, I think that there's a good reason for why people like these blushes so much, and that they're worth considering, and not too expensive. However, the product from Honest that I have used the most are their Tinted Lip Balms. So I think these are really terrific. And I have all of these different shades in them, and I actually use them pretty regularly. And I really like them because they allow me to use different shades that I wouldn't ordinarily wear in a lipstick that's a lot brighter, but that do add some color to my lips. So this one, for instance, is called Dragon Fruit, and it's much more on the kind of violet side than I would usually use. But I think because it's so muted, it looks fine on me, and if I'm wearing something that kind of coordinates with this, I think it works really well. In addition, I really like the ingredient list for these, so they have some very nice hydrating oils in them that are good quality. They have real vanilla extract in them, but not too much of it, so it just really tastes pleasant. And I think that the gloss is not too much gloss, but it just makes my lips look very hydrated, and it stays on my lips for a lot longer than you would think, considering that it's a lip balm. It kind of has that little bit of that grip to it that the blush has. And in general, I find that these are a product that I tend to underrate and that I put aside, and then when I get them out, I think I really should be using them all the time. And so I've been trying to carry these around with me a lot, and they hold up well in the hot weather, and in general, I just feel very, very good about them, and they're inexpensive. So considering that how pretty they look, they're priced just like an ordinary clear lip balm. The one that I think might be especially worth considering is the Plum Drop, because the Plum Drop one is similar to Clinique Black Honey, except that I think that the formula is one that I like even better, and it really looks better on me than the Black Honey. So I did some swatches, so if you want to watch those, then I'll be putting those on right now. Thanks very much for watching all the way to the end of the video, and I hope you will subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already. And Coco and I love you very much. Goodbye.